Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Remember Me Daily Readings for Lent. And without further ado, let's do the readings for today, Tuesday in Holy Week. We too often forget the maxim of the saints, which warn us to consider ourselves as each day recommencing our progress towards perfection. If we consider it frequently, we shall not be surprised at the poverty of our spirit, nor how much we have to refuse ourselves. The work is never finished. We have continually to begin again, and that courageously. What we have done so far is good, but what we are going to commence will be better. And when we have finished that, we shall begin something else that will be better still, and then another, until we leave this world to begin a new life that will have no end, because it is the best that can happen to us. It is not then a case for tears that we have so much to work to do for our souls, for we need great courage to go ever onwards, since we must never stop, and much resolution to restrain our desires. Observe carefully this precept that all the saints have given to those who would emulate them. Speak little or not at all of yourself and of your own interest. This is by St. Francis de Sales. And to complete today's reading, you will only love God in proportion as you learn to suffer silently and to prefer Him to every created thing. This was by Saint Margaret Mary. So, I wanted to go over this what I thought was interesting. We too often forget that maxim of the saints which warn us to consider ourselves as each day recommencing our progress towards perfection. Every day, I don't know if you guys ever thought about it this way, but every day is a chance to improve. Every day the goal is to advance in holiness, right? That's something that um we should we should be going for, to advance in holiness. If you're not doing that as a Catholic, um, that's will be very alarming that you're not doing that. And in this Holy Week, when we get close to Easter, when we get out of the spirit of penance, out of the spirit of spiritual growth, I want you to remember that every day is an opportunity to grow spiritually. Every day, and don't think about the shortcomings of yesterday. You may have mortally sinned yesterday, but we're going to go to confession and don't worry about it. We have to pick ourselves up. Of course, if it's possible, go straight to confession, but if not, we can wait until Sunday. Hopefully God gives us the grace to wait until Sunday, or whenever you get the first chance to go to confession and do that. But apart from that, every day should be looked at as an opportunity to grow in holiness. Um, God gives us life every day to show Him more and more love. It's not just to proclaim that Jesus is your Lord. It's to emulate Him. We were talking in other episodes about how Protestants, they say they love the Lord, but do they ever really thank Him? I love God, they say, but do they ever really imitate Him? No, they don't imitate. They don't think that's necessary. Unfortunately, it's a very sad fact, right? Some people, on a human level, a lot of Protestants are what you would call on a human level good people, but are they people who would want you to imitate Christ? No. Some people would talk and say that it's like that you should, but they don't think it's necessary. Ultimately, when their backs are against the wall, they don't think it's necessary for you to emulate Christ. But that's what we need to do. We need to emulate Christ every day, and we have to understand what I interpret this readings to be. Every day we go back at zero, and every day we have to be better and learn from our mistakes to be better versions of ourselves and be better emulators of Christ than we were the day before. Very difficult sometimes. Very difficult because you have to basically do a character study on yourself, which is something that I need to do by way of the examination of conscience. Maybe I need to be doing that every night. But it's a good opportunity. You should do that, and I will join in trying to do that. The examination of conscience. We need to do that to see if we're better Catholics today than we were yesterday. And I would say that even if you're a better Catholic by that 1%, so consider that a victory. Every day is a new day, and every day is a new opportunity to be better imitators of Christ than we were the day before. And we have to take advantage of that. It's very difficult now with social media and all that. People are very haughty. People are very high on themselves, thinking that they're right there up with the saints. Sometimes they have this false humility that I can see through personally. I don't buy a lot of people online who say, oh, I'm the chief of all sinners. I don't really believe when people say that. I don't really believe that these people believe that when they say it, right? If I'm being realistic with myself, I guess if I can be realistic, of course I can point out people who I believe, like, do you think you're better Catholic than this person? Of course I can point out to a couple of people, but that's not the point, because I'm not in competition with my neighbor. I'm not in competition with this influencer or that influencer or this parishioner or that parishioner or this person or that Protestant or that atheist. I'm not in competition with these people. So it doesn't really matter. It's a waste of time to compare yourself to people who you believe are bad Catholics. It's a waste of time. The only person who I can compare myself to ultimately is myself. Am I a better Catholic than I was yesterday? That's the question. And that's the hardest one. Because we can find a myriad of things. I can bring up a couple of Catholic influencers and bring up a couple, hey, you're not a good I'm a better Catholic than you because A, B, and C, all this stuff. A litany of stuff. Can bring up a couple of stuff, right? You don't know what you're talking about because A, B, and C. You don't know what you're talking about because you said this. You don't know what you're talking about because you're against that. That I can do that all day, and I'm sure you can too. You can do that all day, and if you're almost a professional at it. We are masters when it comes to pointing out the shortcomings of our neighbor. Absolute masters. Nobody knows you more than your own haters, right? I'm sure if we found I'm sure we found somebody who hates on me, they can find the same thing too, right? They can, well, they probably will say the same thing about, well, I'm holier than him because, I stay 45 minutes after mass. I actually leave 2 seconds before the other one starts. I'm sure there's people like that, right? But the point of the matter is that you're not in competition with me. You're in competition with yourself. I'm in competition with myself. And ultimately, right, once moving on from Lent, there is the question: are we going to be better Catholics than ourselves? The only people who we need to beat, are ourselves, right? Are you a better Catholic than you were yesterday? Do you plan on being a better Catholic than you were today? Right now, even watching this, do you plan on being a better Catholic tomorrow? Or are you just going to cope and stuff? I'm good enough, right? Today you spent 10 minutes, 10 minutes doing spiritual reading. Tomorrow you're going to do 15. Tomorrow you're going to do 20. It's all out there. What are you going to do? Um, let's look at what St. Margaret Mary said. You will only love God in proportion as you learn to suffer silently and prefer Him to every created thing. Suffering silently. That's another thing too. We have to suffer silently. Not every, you don't need to tell the world everything that's going on. That's something that's one of the hardest things, the stoicism, right? Everybody needs to kind of have a firm grip on, maybe not master, but have a firm grip on it. Men and women. We don't need to be complaining about everything all the time. Oh, my body hurts. This is that. I'm tired, whatever, whatever. People don't need to see that. And that's the thing, that's the problem with today. Is that today people just like complaining, including myself. People just like complaining. People just about the most infinitesimal things, right? People just like complaining. And if we just kind of make peace with the life that we have, hey, it is what it is. And to suffer silently, that would help us be better Catholics. Another thing that would help us is, yeah, preferring God over created things. We talked about this in other episodes, but I don't mind reiterating things quickly. You know, we have to put God first, sometimes before even our sleep, right? Sometimes there are people who like, yeah, mass is only at 7:30 a.m. You have to get up at 7:30. You have to get up at 7:30. You have to do it. You have to put God first. Oh, I can't get up that early, so I guess I'm going to miss mass. No. No. Or maybe I've been working all week, so maybe I can't go to adoration today for the first Friday. No. No. We have to sacrifice things more, right? And and this is not just me pointing fingers at you. It's something that I have to do too. We all have to do it. We all have to do it. We're in the trenches, people. We're in the trenches fighting a war against the devil, and we have to take advantage of every which weapon we can take advantage of. Holy Mass, confession, adoration. We have to take advantage of that. If we don't take advantage of that, you know, we're going to lose the battle. Definitely lose. So keep that in mind when you're by yourself, when you don't want to wake up early, when you don't want to go to First Friday Mass, when you keep in mind, when you don't want to do more prayers than you should, when you don't want to read more, right? When things don't go our way, we have to suffer in silence and we have to choose God first. And don't forget that. Don't forget that. Keep that as the main thing. Keeping God first. You have to do this. I know right now because Holy Week, maybe you're going to mass all week. Maybe you're gonna go to mass and you're gonna feel something, right? And hopefully it stays. That's a problem with a lot of these, a lot of modernists. They go to these big Catholic conventions where they have concerts. Everybody's all with their arms up like that. Oh, I can feel it. They do that. They do right the next week. Do they go? Oh, I think mass is boring. Oh, I think you know they have those processions where they bring the sacrament, the blessed sacrament, and people are like, oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. They do that, and then you're like, you want to go to adoration? Oh no, I can't. And why am I bringing this up? Because that stuff is that stuff is fake. That feeling is fake. It's not putting God first. It's putting your feelings first. That's why you have a hard time spending time with the Blessed Sacrament. That's why you have a hard time being in silence. You have to be the center of everything. You have to feel these things. That's not putting God first. Oh, I can't go to low mass because it's too quiet. I don't know if you guys like going to high mass, and it's not anything It's not anything to. This is not talking to anyone who goes to the high mass or low mass, right? These are talking to, you know, the modernist. Well, I can't go to that mass because it's too quiet. You're putting yourself first. You're putting yourself first. Or people who, they can't read. Oh, well, there's some people who are like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to not go to the Latin mass anymore because I can't pay attention. I have a hard time paying attention. You're like, get a missile. Oh no, I can't do that. You're not putting God first. You're not putting God first. You want to be free. You want everything to cater to, and it's not hard to learn the Latin mass. It's not hard to learn the true mass. It's not hard. There are plenty of missiles ready. I can name you some off the bat. If you're interested, just comment and I'll give you I might make a video about this, but it's not difficult. We have to put God first over created things, like oversleep, stuff like sleep. You can't get up early for mass because you're too busy drooling on your pillow. I need my extra hour to drool on the pillow. For what? You're gonna sleep on Sunday anyway. You're gonna sleep in. You're not gonna do anything. Sacrifice some time. Be with God. One thing that my father used to tell me when I was a young man is when I was a child, he would say, you have the whole week for yourself and you can't offer an hour to God. And it's true. The older you get, and you really, yeah, it's embarrassing. You have the whole hour, right? You have the whole week, right? You have the whole week to yourself to do whatever you want, right? Oh, the whole week. I don't even know. I'm bad at math. I can't even tell you how much hours it is in a week. Who knows, right? What is it? Doesn't really matter. What is it, like 100? What is it, like 100 hours? Like, should be like, well, the work it's by 7. Who cares? We're not gonna do math right now. I'm. That's not important. We know that it's multiple amounts of hours. You can't devote 1 hour, even the day. There's 24 hours in a day. You can't give God an hour of your day. Well, I don't have time, but you have time to be on your phone. And this talk is for everybody, even myself, principally for myself. But it is something that we need to work on. And don't forget it once you leave this desert, the self-imposed spiritual desert, I guess, that we're in right now. This desert that we're in, wandering off, in our penance for Lent. After Lent's over, don't forget it. I mean, don't forget these lessons. Keep keep those devotions as much as you can. Maybe not the fasting if you don't need to, but at least if you said, hey, I'm going to pray 3 rosaries, keep praying. Just because Lent's over doesn't mean you should stop praying the 3 rosaries. If you decide to do that for your Lenten penance, hey, just keep it. Grow in spirituality, grow in grace. I think that's a good idea. But these are subjects for another video. Um, hope you guys' Holy Week is going great. Pray for me as I'll pray for you guys. And until the next episode, take care and God bless.